Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I am Ashfaq and today we will create Azure DevOps project which would be divided in two parts. First would be build pipeline and second would be release pipeline. In the build pipeline, if developer makes any change on the GitHub repository, it will trigger the build pipeline in which it will pull the code from the GitHub repository and it will build the container image, Docker container image, and it will push it to the Azure Container Registry. Here our build pipeline will end. And after the completion of the build pipeline, the release pipeline will be automatically get triggered. And the release pipeline will actually pull the artifact from the build pipeline, which is the image on the ACR, and using that image it will deploy the Azure Container App on the Azure App Service, and we will be able to see the changes on the application. So let's start building our project. So first task is to create the Azure Container Registry. So on the Azure portal, I will go to Container Registries, create Container Registry, and I will give the name MyLab22, and this name should be unique. Resource group, I don't have any resource group. I will click on create new. Location, I will select my location. SKU standard. Next, 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 and create. So container registry has been created. I will go to Azure DevOps portal. I have already logged into my organization on the Azure DevOps portal. If you are first time logging into the Azure DevOps portal, then you can refer to this video on how to create the your organization and how to get your free trial activated. The link of this video I will provide you in the description. I will create my project. My lab hyphen project, visibility private. I will click on create project. So my project has been created. Now I need to create the two service connections. One is for ACR and second one is for GitHub. I will go to project settings. I will go to service connections, create service connection, and here I will select Docker registry. Next, I will select here Azure Container Registry. Authentication type, I will select service principal. I will provide here my username. I will provide my password. I will select my container registry. I will give the name and I will tick here grant access permission to all pipelines, and I will click on save. Click on new service connection and I will select GitHub. Next, authentication, I will select grant authorization, and OAuth configuration, I will select Azure Pipelines. I will click on authorize. So I'm already logged into my GitHub account. So it has taken the credentials from there. I will give the name. I will again tick on grant access permission to all pipelines and I will click on save. Okay, so here both the service connections has been created. Next task is to create the build pipeline. So on the Azure portal, on the Azure DevOps portal, I will go to pipelines and I will select these pipelines, which is the actually build pipeline symbol. Create pipeline and I will select this option GitHub. So in the list, I will select my repository. So this is my repository, Tetris game app. So I will select my repository. So under the configure, I will select this option, Docker, build and push an image to Azure Container Registry. I will select my subscription, continue. I will provide my username for the Azure portal here. I will provide the password. I will select the container registry and image name. I will give Tetris game app. Validate and configure. Okay, now I will click on save and run. So it is running my job. Okay, so job completed, which means build and push has been completed. So this is the log. If I go to Azure portal and if I go to my registry and under my container registry, if I go to repositories, so you can see here the image has been pushed, Tetris game app. Next task is to create the Linux web app for the containers. Before that, I will do one small change on my container registry. On my container registry, I will go to access keys and admin user. I will make it enabled. I will now go to home, app services, create web app. I will select my resource group. I will give the name. I will select Docker container, operating system Linux. I will select my region. It will create the uh, app service plan. Pricing plan, I will keep basic. Next, options, single container, image source. I will select Azure Container Registry. So this is my registry and this is the image name, Tetris game app. Next, 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 create. Okay, so Linux web app for the containers has been created. Next task is to create the release pipeline. On the Azure DevOps portal, I will go to my project pipeline and I will select releases. New pipeline, and I will select this option, Azure App Service Deployment. Artifacts, I will click on add. Source type build, and I will select my project, and here in the drop down I will select the build artifact from the build pipeline. Default version latest, and I will click on add. And this is the continuous deployment trigger. I will click here and continuous deployment trigger I will make it enabled. Under the stage 1 I will go to this option task, and here I will select my subscription and I will click on authorize. I will give my username. I will provide password. App type, I will select web app for containers, Linux. In the drop down, I will select my app service name. Registry name I will provide here. This is my registry name, mylab22, and this is the registry server of the Azure, azurecr.io. Now I will provide here my repository name, Tetris game app. I will click here on save, OK, and I will click on create release. I will not change anything here and I will click on create. So here release pipeline has been successfully deployed. I will go here release 1 and under the stage 1 I will go to logs. Job has been completed. If I go to this job, deploy Azure App Service, so this is the log and this is the URL of our app service application. Before accessing this app, I need to make one change. I will go to Azure portal, app service, under setting I will go to configurations, application setting, and I will click on new application setting. I will give the name website port and value I will give 3000 because our application is running on the port 3000, and I will click OK. I will click on save. Okay, now I will go to my logs on the Azure DevOps portal and I will copy the application URL and I will browse it on the new tab. Okay, so my application is running.
Let's play some Tetris, motherfucker.
This is the Tetris game.
Fuck it all, fuck it all. Don't give a shit anymore.
Everything has been set up. Now it's time to verify our build and release pipeline. I have opened the build pipeline and the release pipeline on two different tabs, and this is my GitHub repository. I am connected to my GitHub repository from my local system through the Git. On our application, the color of Let's Play is green. I will make it white and we will verify on the application. So on my repository, I will open the uh, Tetris application file and I will search here let's, and this is the Let's Play and this is the color green. I will make it white. I will save the file and I will push the changes to the remote repository. Okay, if I go to my build pipeline and do the refresh here, so job has been triggered. So build job completed. If I go to release, so you can see here upon completion of the build job, release pipeline has been triggered automatically. So the release job also completed. If I go to my application and do the refresh here, so you can see here the color has been changed to white.
Let's play some Tetris, motherfucker.
Fuck it all, fuck it all. Don't give a shit anymore. Fuck it all.
By this way, you can create the automated CI/CD pipeline using the Azure build and release pipeline. Any change on the GitHub repository will trigger the pipeline, and we would be able to see the changes on the application. You can fork my repository, create your own branch, and you can practice the complete project. And during practicing this project, if you find any doubt or any difficulty, you can ask me in the comment section, and I will definitely answer to your query. If you find this project helpful, then like the video. A lot of effort went behind this video, so do subscribe to my channel to encourage my work. Share this video with the friends and spread the knowledge. I look forward you to join me in the next video. Thank you.